1. We are live. By the way, Hangouts on Air is going away. We need to switch over to YouTube webcam.
No,
I don't have to do that.
No, I don't want to do what they want to do. I want to do what I want to do.
Okay, well, let me know how you figure out to do what you want to do, and I'll gladly do it too, as long as we get the same results. We can do Eloy Tube.
Okay, Thank you. Oh, whoa. Easy there, camel jockey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the once and former king has returned. Bryan Bales, what's up, bud?
Nothing.
Yeah. Walk off. See you next week, ladies and gentlemen.
And
that's a wrap.
Doc, can I ask a favor of you?
What do you need, buddy?
Okay, don't worry about it, because I just realized it was that you stepped back. Your audio sounded far away, but now you got close. Go ahead.
Am I good now?
Yeah, get closer.
Ooh. Nah, I can't get any closer.
Get closer.
Closer.
Yeah, it's better. It's better now. Okay.
Dude, I almost forgot how to run all my computer equipment. It was pretty embarrassing. Nothing was plugged in. I had to plug the mic in. I had to plug the USB interface.
He was completely ready to never do the podcast again. He just packed everything up. He's like, well, I'm dying.
Yep. Dead.
Just for the record, looking at Bales now after so many years, and looking at his hair, it has that something about Mary gel on it that's quite, shiny. Welcome back, Bales.
Well, I cut it yesterday, but I washed it 3 days ago.
Yeah. And what kind of moose is that? Because it's suspect.
The farmer down the street has a moose.
Really?
No.
Oh. I don't know how the kids buy their moose these days. It's been a minute since I needed hair care products. So
is mousse still a thing? Isn't it like styling gel and hair wax?
I use it on my toe hairs.
Toe hairs. I'm sure that you can still buy mousse. I think Mrs. Doc still uses it for stumping.
What I like about
for her hair, I don't know.
Oh.
What I like about this whole thing is that we all have our different styles and stuff, and Rory always seems to come up on here while he's eating something. So he kills two birds with one stone.
Man, if I could eat dinner on the way from work, I would. So I apologize. I'm inhaling this as fast as possible.
No. Take your time. It's not like, look, Rory, take your time.
Chew your food.
Yeah, chew your food. It's not like we're doing something, important that we all, work at. And
you also have to take into consideration, Eloy, that he's a couple hours, right, behind us. So it's actually supper time for him, too. Yeah, so that's, late dinner.
Right.
Guy's getting it in. Look at him. Just swallowing it whole.
No. Take your time, Rory.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, slower, Rory.
Slower. Take your time, Rory. Slower. No. Oh. Slower. Okay. Bales, so go ahead. Do what you got to do so we can move on with our lives. Come on. Hit us.
Hit you?
All right.
Well, for people who have not heard what has happened, Eloy, how would you describe where Bales has gone?
To hell and back? What do you mean where he's gone?
Yeah. Bales was just on a great adventure.
He's gone to Africa. He went down to the rains down in Africa.
Oh my gosh. Eloy doesn't know where Bales went.
Jesus.
All this time.
No, I don't know where he went.
So if you don't know, Bales went to Egypt and has just returned.
Egypt is in Africa, Rory.
It is.
You said Africa. You didn't say Egypt.
The continent of Africa.
It's in the continent of Africa.
But more importantly, he went to Egypt.
He blessed the rains. So how was the coffee at the Dunkin' Donuts in Cairo, man?
I didn't make it to the Dunks. I never saw it. Never saw it.
You got to tell me about that hotel, though.
Oh, that hotel is pretty tight. It's a Marriott. Well, it wasn't initially a Marriott. Yeah, I think it was some like hunting lodge in the 1800s, and the Marriott recently bought it.
For hunting what? Sand?
Yeah.
What do you hunt in the middle of the desert?
Rare white sand.
I don't know, dude.
Oh, I'm just asking. Okay, yeah.
Bill, this is not going to work like this. We want you to open up. We want your inners.
Eloy, since you're the most knowledgeable in this field,
What?
As Bales, I mean, you and Bales know the most about this. Why don't you conduct the interview? You would know the proper questions to ask him. So,
Okay, Bales, who was Tutankhamun's frickin'
no,
niece?
I'm not talking about a quiz. I'm saying, come on now.
I saw him, by the way.
Yeah, we saw. We don't want to know about that.
You caught the tut butt from him.
He was very shriveled and dark. Looked like a raisin.
We don't want to know about that. We want to know about your first encounter with a camel at night. That's what I want to know.
I didn't ride any camels.
No, so
They rode me.
right. Aren't you happy to? This is my actual question. Aren't you happy to be back in America?
No.
Oh, so you loved it over there?
I wanted to stay longer.
Traitor.
And I'm actually already talking to people about going back in a smaller group.
I knew it. I knew you were one to frickin' just jump ship.
I'm going back in.
Go back.
That's disgusting.
We gotta go back, Marty.
We got to go back.
Can I ask you one important question?
Back to the tomb.
Did you bring wet naps?
Yes.
I knew it.
I didn't use them.
Oh, that's not nice.
How'd the fanny pack work out?
I didn't use a fanny pack.
Yes, you did. You had a fanny pack.
And a satchel.
How'd that work out?
It's pretty good.
Are you
Everyone
gonna rock it in America now?
Everyone that had a backpack was regretting it because their entire back was soaked.
Oh, I'm sure. So was that like describe the heat?
It's a very dry heat.
Very dry heat, but is it heat that you felt before?
So no. So no, yeah, I felt it before. I've been to Arizona. Cairo was around 100, but when we flew to Aswan, it was closer to 110.
Jeez. Did you have any chafing?
Yeah, a little, yeah.
Okay. And how did you remedy that?
I started out with the light, quick dry hiking pants and t-shirts, right? And a lot of sunscreen and my shade hat.
Mm-hmm.
And that quickly swapped out to a very thin, long sleeve shirt.
Wow.
You got to protect yourself from the sun.
Yeah, because I would go to bed and it would feel like my skin was crackling like bacon.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And the thing about the cotton is you'd sweat through the shirt immediately, but if you wore a thin, long sleeve shirt, it breathed easier and it shaded your skin. It was way better.
So your skin was crackling. So could you literally like cook
it just felt like your skin was tingling as you're trying to fall asleep.
So if you had some sausage and biscuits on your belly, it would have fried it up like a nice breakfast.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you're in the desert. You're like, wow, what is that? This smells like bacon. Oh, crap. That's me.
Oh, that's just my flesh being cooked by the sun.
So let's get into the intellectual side of things because, people ignore the fact that we here in Scratched are quite profound and we do ponder the greater mysteries of life, reality, and whatnot. Tell us, what was your biggest impression shock about the area just out the door? Just, stepping off the plane. Like, what were your impressions? Give us your initial once you got there.
Oh, once I got there?
Yeah.
The drive to the hotel, everything, this is going to sound terrible. Everything looked like it was hit by a bomb.
Okay.
That's
probably because it was.
Dude, every single building looked like the first and second floor was blown out. There was rubble everywhere. Everything was just tan. There was no color. And there was plastic and trash everywhere.
So you were driving or being driven to your hotel, and you as an American are looking out the window and says, wow, this looks like it's been bombed, when in fact it's probably actually what it looked like. Devastation, basically.
Yeah.
And what did your lady think?
Probably the same thing.
Did you ask her?
No.
Did you feel at that point pretty safe and secure, looking at all the destruction and plastic as you drove to your impending doom?
I was fine. I'm comfortable with mortality, man.
At any time, did you feel like you had made a horrible error?
No, I was all in. All in.
What was one thing that happened that you did not expect?
Nothing. But dude, a lot of machine guns.
Yeah, you were saying a couple of times you said something machine gun, blah blah. I was like, whoa. I was like, anytime this guy's just casually rocking machine guns.
Yeah. So I was looking through pictures, and I have pictures of some of the guards. Because first of all, we have like guides, right? Tour guides that are supposed to keep us in line and protected, and they're giving us little piecemeal guidelines, not all at once, just little by little. And one of the first ones was never take a picture of a police officer ever. And some of my pictures have police officers in them, but they're carrying like submachine guns, and they're just walking along, swinging them in their hand, right? With their fingers on the trigger. Their trigger discipline is horrible.
Zero trigger discipline. Just
Straight up thugs.
It is so bad. Excuse me.
Straight out of Egypt.
I picked this cough up in Egypt, and it's still killing me.
You might,
I'm probably dying. So let me tell you one thing about the machine guns. At one of the sites, I don't remember which one, there was a guard, and he was reading a book. He was sitting in a chair reading a book, but he was resting his chin on the muzzle of his machine gun.
what an animal.
that almost makes you think that they're not loaded.
Yeah, I mean,
Did anybody
We're
fire?
looking for a new guard at the moment.
no one fired. So usually we had two to three plainclothes escorts, and they had submachine guns under their jackets.
In America, when you say escorts, I mean, we're thinking
They were security escorts.
Oh, great.
But their jackets were always shorter than their guns, so they were always sticking out of the bottom. It was
Like
laughable.
heat
Yeah.
style.
Did they have boots or were they barefoot?
What? Shoes.
Like regular, like Nike?
I didn't see a lot of people barefoot.
What about jewelry? Like a lot of gold jewelry?
No.
What was the biggest, what was the automobile of choice? Or did they just camel in and out of the city?
Lots of horse-drawn carriages.
Holy smokes.
What's Camel Uber called?
I don't know. Lots of scooters and broken down motorcycles. Lots of jalopies. I think I saw 10 new cars the entire time I was there. And lots of vans. Which
Yeah, because that's...
apparently there was like a German company there several years ago doing something, and they just left all their vehicles there.
So there's poverty.
Oh, everywhere, dude.
Extreme.
Everywhere.
Would you say it's extreme?
Everyone is asking for money, begging. We had children coming up to us, like doing they didn't speak English, so they're doing the hand to mouth, I need food sign.
Yeah.
And the guides are telling us, don't give money to anyone, don't pay any attention to anyone, just get through it. If you give to one, you're going to get swarmed by 100. So
did they, when you didn't give them, did they do anything other than just leave?
They just left. But everyone is peddling. Some random woman came up to me and started trying to sell me her
underwear,
her clothing. She pulled her scarf out of her bag and started asking me for a US dollar.
Oh, dang. Wow, dude.
All right. It's crazy. It's crazy. And you feel bad, but you cannot, if you do it for one, you're going to get swarmed.
Well, it's a tremendous travesty if you think about it. This is I don't know. So my question is, those are pretty savage, different. Now, did you notice any, bottom, low rung, poor, poverty class? Did you see any middle class situation and any well-to-do class situations?
Some of the tour guides are wearing nice watches and rings and nice clothing. But I was seeing people that were sleeping in their shops. They had open air markets and they were just sleeping.
Damn, dude.
We were on a Nile cruise, right?
Yeah.
So a couple days I got up at 4:30 in the morning so I could watch the sunrise. And I'm just seeing these shops on the banks. And I'm just seeing bodies of people laying underneath blankets. Just out in the open air, dude.
Damn, rough.
So let me ask you this. Did you think about me while you were in Egypt?
Oh, yeah. A couple times.
You did when?
Usually in the bathroom when I was stroking it.
So, well, so okay.
Time to say hello to my little friend.
Whoa. Medium-sized friend.
To my Cuban friend.
Shoot, man. I shouldn't even ask that question.
Yeah, he walked right into that one, man.
So
low-hanging fruit.
By the way, Ryan's episode was pretty good while you were gone. Speaking of low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A good time.
So one cool thing about the whole thing was that when you left here and took off, I think we were all pretty worried. I was pretty worried because, I mean, there's a fine line and we see a lot of crazy stuff. But one interesting thing that happened was that you were able to very easily Instagram and Facebook a lot of information, a lot of pictures, a lot of stuff. And we were up to speed with where you were at roughly either that night or the next day or whatever. But we got to see a lot of the different things that you were seeing as you were seeing them.
Which, thank you, because that I enjoyed that. That was kind of fun to see.
I did too. I was totally tripping off of everything you were sharing with us.
I hated it. I thought it was stupid. I gave it no likes. I was happy to see the first one and be like, he is alive. The bird has landed. Repeat,
the hotel
has landed.
The hotels had awesome Wi-Fi. The Nile cruise had crappy Wi-Fi. And anytime we were out on a site, no Wi-Fi. So I just did the travel pass.
Did
$10 a day.
Travel pass means that you can Wi-Fi.
It's like a fee that you pay to your cellular company for international service.
I think it was a good idea to do that because we all did enjoy that. And let me ask you, did you take any extra pictures that we did not see?
I have thousands of pictures.
Okay.
And tons of video.
Oh, that's freaking awesome. Okay, so now
I started out a little cautious in the beginning because it was I didn't really know what to expect. I was learning as I went, right?
Yeah.
Because out of the gate they're like, don't take pictures of police, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So at sites I'm trying to be respectful. I'm just taking pictures, I'm taking no video. And then as the days went on, some of the sites sold photo passes. Like at some sites you could take photos free, and others they decided you had to buy a photo pass for 100, 200, or 300 Egyptian pounds,
which is the equivalent of.
I have it in my phone. So I think 100 Egyptian pounds is around $6.
Their inflation is insane.
Yeah, well, their value of their dollar is low. So. Initially, I would buy the photo pass, but no one would ever check. So you're spending money that no one is checking on. So it by the end of the trip, I was starting to catch on to all the bureaucracy and all the weird corruption, and I knew exactly what I could get away with, and what I had to do and what I didn't have to do. So initially, we're captives to the timeline. They're taking us site to site. The first day we go to Giza and he's like, look at this block and look at this saw cut and look at this. And I'm sitting there attentively listening to the travel guide. And then, an hour or so in, they're like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, dude, we're standing next to the Great Pyramid and I want to walk around the pyramid, but you're telling me I have to go.
Did people confront him and say, hey, give us some time here, bud?
No, because everyone's just like sheep. So I learned from that experience, and then so the next site, instead of just listening to his speech, which I really didn't care about.
You're talking about Robert Schoch.
No. So this is weird. Robert Schoch is not a licensed or registered Egyptian guide, so he's not allowed to give any kind of lectures at any sites. It's actually illegal for him to talk within temples, but the Egyptian guide can.
Right. Well, that's how they
it's bureaucracy. So instead of listening to the guide, I would just walk away from the group so I could see everything and take pictures, but I would stay within line sight just so I didn't get, abducted. Because I guess that's a thing.
Is it a thing?
Oh, it's a thing. So, which towards the end of the trip, Shannon and I decided to go up to Giza, the plateau on our own.
Yeah.
Because the group was like, we have some downtime, everyone take a nap. And I'm like, I'm not taking a nap, dude. We're in Egypt. I'm not wasting 4 hours or however many hours.
He wanted a nap.
Yeah, I don't want a nap. So we went and paid the admission fee to Giza.
Yeah.
And we walked around the plateau and we paid to go inside of the second pyramid and inside of all the chambers. But like the guide pulled me aside. He's like, I don't think you should do this. It's not safe. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing it. What's the big deal? And so he gave me some guidelines. And the guidelines were, do not talk to the camel men. Do not talk to the horse carriage men. Do not talk to any of the vendors. And do not show your admission pass to anyone unless they're in a white police uniform with a machine gun.
What?
So here...
Did he tell you to shit your pants in the event of...
No. So here's the deal. Everyone in Egypt is looking to just get money off of you. They want to take your money, but they're not violent about it. So the horse carriage guys, they want you to get in their carriage so they can, get money for their horse carriage. The camel guys will get you on the camel. They'll lead you out into a secluded part of the desert, and then they will extort you for more money before they take you back.
What the?
Right.
Oh, hell no.
The guy that's asking you for your pass is going to take it from your hand and say, follow him to lead you out to the desert to extort you for money before he takes you back.
Oh my God.
So we actually had a camel guy. He's like, you need to get on my camel. I'm like, nope, not going to do it, guy. He's like, it's illegal for you to walk here.
He said it in English or in Egyptian, which you learned in 3 days before traveling?
English.
Okay.
It's illegal
He's like, it's illegal for you to walk here. You must be on a camel. And I'm like, I'm doing pretty good myself here, guy. I'm all set. So he says, I'm going to call the police. I said, okay, go ahead. Let him know I'm going to be over here by the third pyramid.
Now, this is just some guy on the street while you're walking.
It's a camel man on the Giza Plateau.
Yeah. Okay.
A camel handler.
You should have. You know what you should have done? You should have gone. Oh, hello.
No, dude, you do not. You don't disrespect because they take that shit serious.
I was gonna say culturally, it's pretty heavy,
dude. Yeah. Has Bale been trained? Did you see his reaction? I just said that in America, in a podcast with other Americans, and he's like trying to control the narrative here. Like, shh, don't say that, Eloy. He's been freaking within a couple of weeks. He's already.
Eloy noticed that he didn't do the nope.
The man's a world traveler now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
He's got life experience.
You would get killed in Egypt.
I would stand there right in front of the Dunkin' Donuts and I'd say, oh, well, the Boston cream pie.
I bet you would not.
You don't know me, dude.
Oh, by the way, going into every site, they have X-ray scanners. So you have to throw your bag through a conveyor belt and then walk through a scanner. And at the Giza Plateau, I set the scanner off because of my belt. So I walk through and I'm like, it's probably my belt. And the guard looks at me, deadpan, and says, where's the bomb?
Right here, bitch.
And I'm just like, no bomb here, sir.
Okay, he asked you, where's the bomb?
Yeah.
Can you give us the accent in which he asked you?
Nope.
Why?
Because that's racist.
Just say it. I want to hear it.
You just said, where's the bomb?
Did he say, where's the bomb? Or did he say...
He didn't have a southern drawl. He just straight American. Where's the bomb?
Oh, so he said it American style?
Maybe that's the only thing he knows how to say.
Dude, they all speak Arabic and English.
But like perfect English?
It's better... Yeah, they speak better English than my Asian neighbors.
You know what? That is racist. Moving on. See, one way or the other, I'm going to get you. So they asked you that, where's the bomb? What kind of stupid question is that? Where's your bomb?
He was either joking or he wanted to see what my reaction was.
He wanted to look inside your bag.
Do you take off running?
No, they scanned my bag.
Did you ever get a proctal shakedown? A shakedown and a fractal.
Nope.
Okay, cool. Next time. So
maybe next time.
Did you get to oversee anybody messing around or screwing up? Like, look at that guy. Oh no.
We were at a temple called Colombo.
Macombo.
Starring Peter Falk.
And towards the back, there was a section which is every temple has like this area that's the Holy of Holies.
Go about that now, don't we there?
Jesus Christ, get this guy going. The most sacred of areas. And they had sacred stones, like blocks of granite, whatever.
Now that's a whole... I'm sorry.
And some people were touching it, and a guard comes over and says something in Arabic, which none of us know what he says. One of our translators says he just said, if you keep touching the stone, he's going to open fire.
See, really? That would be one of the. You should know that phrase in English. Like if you can ask, where's the bomb at the next machine gun monthly meeting, they should all get together and be like, this is how we tell them that we're going to kill them.
The thing is 2 minutes before that same guard, someone else had bribed him to get down into a lower secret chamber and take some pictures. So
that's what makes that kind of place dangerous, Bales, because it's like you said, that bureaucracy, and these people are poor and they're frustrated and sick and tired of it. I mean, it's a shame,
Oh, dude,
it's a shame.
I saw so much bribery and palms being greased. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, almost like city construction.
Like the first time we went up to Giza, usually when we went to a site, we got like a little ticket, like an entry ticket. But the first time we went to Giza, we didn't get that. So I think they just did like a side deal. Like their buddy was working the gate, he paid him a fee, let these 80 people in type deal. Every time we went to a site, one of the tour guides was greasing palms. He'd pay the guy at the entry, he'd pay the guardians that were cleaning up the site. It was just weird. One night we were running late getting back to the hotel, and I saw him walk up to a random cop car, slip him a wad of cash, and next thing I know, that cop car is in front of the bus with its lights and sirens escorting us back.
Wow.
Yeah. So
when we went to Rome, doing that made the trip a lot easier.
Well, yeah. But
I didn't tip the cops,
I mean, some of that was lined up, but if I walked up to a Boston cop and said, "Man, I want to get home. Can you help me out?" That would not fly.
Yeah, but everyone in Egypt's on the take, man.
Oh, totally. But here's another weird thing. So going home one night, we're on a 2-lane highway. Let's call it their main highway through the city. 2-lane highway. The cars were actually decided they're not going to pay attention to the line in the road. So they made 3 lanes. And then to the side of the 3 lanes, there were people on motorcycles and scooters, like barely fitting between the car and the concrete rail, right? And it wasn't just one person on a scooter. It was a family of 4 repeatedly. So the father would be driving, a young kid would be in front of him on the gas tank. The wife is bear hugging him, and then another kid is like holding on for his life on the back, and none of them have helmets.
That's crazy.
So now you have 3 lanes of cars, and you have motorcycles and scooters, right?
Yeah, nope. but also a nod to the scooter manufacturers, because dang,
that's not it though. You also had horse-driven carriages on this 2-lane highway, and you had people walking between the cars down the highway.
Going back a little bit, because there's a lot to cover. We probably won't cover all of it, but just going back for a second to your initial drive to the hotel. When you get to the hotel, how was that experience and stuff? Because you drove to your hotel in a bus or alone in a car. I mean, how was that travel again?
So a representative met us at the airport. They helped us go through the passport process where you pay $25. They stamp your passport. Mm-hmm. And they helped us through the custom process. Then they helped us through the baggage process, which is supposed to be you get your bags, you go through a scanner, they search you, blah, blah, blah. But what happened is these people knew the people working at the airport, so they threw all the bags onto multiple carts and they just wheeled them through a side door.
Oh, wow.
So we didn't go through the checkpoints. And then we piled into like vans and drove to the hotel.
So what were the other people on this trip with you? What was their disposition, their comments as you drove there? Was everybody, I mean, just what was that like? Anything you picked up on? Like, it's just, people talking and their opinions?
There was everyone there. There was a few wicked old people, really old people. There were families, there were single people. It was the gambit.
So you're saying just like full on families, like kids and everything?
Yeah, there was a group of a mother, father, and his daughters. They were from Hawaii. Then there was a group of like 4 brothers and all their wives. And there was a bunch of single people, a few couples. So it ran the gambit because they all were. I think a lot of them heard about it on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then they knew Robert Schock, and then they got on the tour because they heard might be the last one for a while.
And so you get to the hotel and stuff, and you settle in for the evening. You had a night, and then you had to have a meeting in the morning to go to your first location, or how was that night? And then that morning when you get up, maybe breakfast. Just what did you? Just give us a little bit of whatever you want to share about that.
So the first day we just kind of checked into the hotel and chilled, and then we had a introductory meeting where they told us, they give you a gift bag. Oh, here's some pens and some blah blah blah, and here's your itinerary, and this is what we're going to be doing.
You get the pyramid slushy top.
Oh yeah, slushy top. And then from there on, it was off to the races, man. Jam-packed days.
Did you have, what were your breakfasts like continental breakfast, or I mean?
The hotel had huge buffets.
American food
for every meal.
Yeah, hamburger type.
No hamburgers at this hotel. It was like eggs, sausage, stuff like that.
Okay, pancake,
chicken, steak. No pancakes.
Oh, what the hell?
Pastries.
Okay.
The cruise ship had they had like falafel, eggs, a chicken dish, a fish dish, beef. But it was the restaurants that were interesting, right? So if we had a long day trip, we would get lunch at a restaurant. And every single restaurant seemed to serve the exact same thing. One of the restaurants even had decor on their table, said that they were an Italian restaurant, but they served the exact same thing as every place before. And I termed it the Egyptian happy meal.
What did that?
This is what it entailed. Overcooked rice.
Overcooked
rice. Or it was either overcooked or mushy. It was never perfect.
Oh my goodness.
Flatbread with a couple different hummus or hummus. Baba ganoush.
Well, hold on. Is it, because when I buy it, it's hummus, but is it hummus? Hummus?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
How did they say it?
I don't know. They didn't pronounce it. That's like when I say wainscot, I say wainscot.
Okay. So, and then what was that other dish?
Baba ganoush. Eggplant, some other, I don't know what the hell.
I like baba ganoush.
There was always chicken, but it had all the bones in it, so you could choke on them, like small bones. It was ridiculous.
Maybe they weren't chicken. Maybe they were.
It was chicken, or maybe it could have been quail. Overcooked beef, and then there was always this weird lumpy sausage, and I'm not sure if it was lamb or camel. And I never got a straight answer.
Did you eat it?
Yeah, I ate it.
Was it good?
No.
None of it was good. Be honest. The eggs, were the eggs good?
Oh, they undercooked their eggs.
What the hell? What's wrong with these people?
Yeah, they have very wet scrambled eggs.
Get the hell out of town. What do you mean?
So your egg choices at the buffet were usually these undercooked scrambled eggs or an overcooked boiled egg.
But it looks like a fancy hotel.
Yeah, I know.
They need to bring some. I don't mean to look for people that hear this in the future. Yes, it's true. From our vantage point, I'm not gonna speak for Rory or Doc because I can't. But if I had to put my betting money down, I think that they would agree, although they would publicly say, no, Eloy, you have to be a man of the world and blah, blah, blah. But here, I mean, even just runny eggs, mushy this, they need standards. At least at the hotel. Give me
No, they weren't like over easy runny eggs. They were just wet scrambled eggs.
Holy smokes, dude.
Yeah, it was weird.
All right. Well, and how about the drinks? Because we did read, for those of you that are listening, in previous episodes, Bales, you should not have the ice cubes or just water because it could cause some sort of issues and stuff. So I'm curious to know what Bales, what was his drink or drinks of preference and whatnot.
It was all bottled water, and it was a lot of sodas that they would sell. And a very small selection of beer. But it was all beer that you wouldn't hear about. The only beer you would know was Heineken.
Oh, okay.
They had another beer called Sakara, which was distributed by Heineken, and another one called Meister, which was
German.
So Sakara was supposedly 4%, but I drank a few and they did nothing.
Okay.
And Meister, also distributed by Heineken, was supposed to be 8%. It also did nothing. So I'm convinced that the beer had no alcohol in it, because when Shannon and I came back to the States and we're sitting in an airport, we had one Sam Adams and we're almost shit-faced.
They get used to 3-2 beer real quick.
Right. But I can tell you that this huge ass beer, probably like 24-ounce beer, was like $3 or $3.50 US.
And Heineken's?
Probably the same, $3.50.
Okay, I mean,
you're like 60 Egyptian pounds.
Yeah, I remember paying $2 US for 6-packs in Mexico.
For a 6, damn.
Well,
yeah, but you can't drink you don't drink the tap water. I never saw ice, ever.
Did you brush your teeth with the tap water?
Nope. Well, I did, but Shannon didn't. She uses bottled water. You're just not supposed to swallow tap water. But so here's a weird thing. The cruise ship had a roof deck pool. And I only went in the pool once, and it was late at night. So I'm like, it's dark outside. And I'm like, oh, good. None of the young kids are up here screwing around. So I'm going to take a dip. So I'm in the pool, and one of the guides comes up, and he's like, what are you doing?
Right.
I'm enjoying the pool, dude. It's like, you can't do that. It's not safe. I'm like, what? What do you mean it's not safe? He's like, the filter's not running. I'm like, so? It's like, that's not safe for you. And I'm like,
as
what do
bubbles
you mean?
come out from underneath you.
So the next morning, I'm shitting my brains out.
No.
Yes.
Oh, no.
That was the only time I got sick.
How long did the shitting last?
I just love that's not safe for you, white person.
It was just one session. So funny thing is, a couple days later, Shannon goes up and she swims in the pool with the filter on. Next morning, she's shitting her brains out.
That filter is probably being rinsed out and reinstalled.
Dude, so you can't even swim in the water. It's just another mess up thing was anytime the boat docked, right, this pipe suddenly appeared. I think the boat was dumping their gray water into the Nile. Possibly their brown water.
But hold on for a sec. Was the pool crystal clear?
Yeah.
Did it have a chlorine smell?
Not really.
Okay. So they're possibly dumping excrement into the magnificent Nile River.
Oh, yeah. But what's worse is right next to that pipe, locals were sitting there washing their clothes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's like, maybe in one of your bathroom sessions, a little corn nugget floated down the Nile and seated itself along the edge of the banks. And one day, years from now, there'll be a corn patch in Bales' name.
I would like to think so, but they'd never had any corn. Vegetables were not a thing in Egypt.
What?
Dude, I was craving something green and vegetable.
Really? Because there's no green anywhere. It's all brown.
It was
7, man. That's all lentils and shit.
Yeah, man. There was hardly any vegetables. Random tomato here and there.
Broad beans.
Okay, so I mean, I guess that's a roundabout. I'm sure there's, but so let's move into the your impressions about the actual ancient structures and megaliths and temples and such. I just want to ask you this one thing just out the gates, and then just whatever. Did they, in your now what you think, did they have assistance of actual machinery?
I saw evidence of machinery. Yes, I saw what looked like saw cuts, possibly even like CNC machines, because you would see a flat stone, but it was concave from all 4 directions. So a flat stone, but it was dished out. And unless you were doing that with some, jig to slide a router or a circular saw on, we would do that with a CNC machine.
Now, that's not to say, putting to the side the electrical power side of it. I know this sounds crazy to people that might stumble, but putting that idea to the side, did they mention that maybe there were scaffolding type jigs that people would turn wheels and then gears would grind? I mean, were there even gears during that supposed time? I'm trying to make sense of the scale of the thing that you visited, the different temples and whatnot, and the actual workmanship. And I'm trying to make sense of maybe not electrical, but did they explain anything about that? Just gears or just to turn the blade. What? They
didn't really explain any of it.
Well, that's the whole point of this damn thing.
I didn't see gears. I saw wheels, and I saw like random. Every time we would go to a temple, while most tourists were like zipping through the temple and like going ooh ah, I would look at the temple, but then I would go to all the outskirts of the temple because that's always where the spare parts bin was. Like these people who put the temple back together, the parts they didn't know what to do with were always in a corner.
You mean they're still there?
Yeah. So I saw a bunch of wheels, but they were probably from Roman times. There was a temple that they'd used wheels and they built them into a wall.
They built the wheels.
They just used the wheels as part of their wall.
Because that's what they had.
Yeah. Dude, some of these places are so big. It's ridiculous. We don't have the cranes to lift these columns and to lift these ceiling blocks on top of the columns. We just don't. And the unfinished obelisk, we don't have the machinery to even lift these out of the ground after they're cut.
And that's granite, right?
Yeah, the Aswan quarry, these huge obelisks that the sides are cut. It looks like someone took a 2-foot wide ice cream scoop and just dished out the rock.
How does that happen without advanced technology?
They say it was done with pounding blocks, which are balls of granite or basalt or diorite balls that are the size of a candlepin bowling ball. But if you look at the wall, the scoop marks go diagonal. Then they cross the trench, and then they go up under the obelisk and they undercut. It's insane.
Does it come out of the quarry relatively chiseled or like chiseled? I mean, what did they move?
I'll have to show you the pictures. This unfinished obelisk is laying down vertically in the ground, and all the sides around it have been carved out, and it's even undercut. So it's basically like sitting on a little tiny support block. Like if you were a giant, you could just reach down and like break it off.
And that word that you use, giant, there's all these, conspiracy theories and stuff. And we kind of, when you're far removed from it, but you were there and stuff. And, you can't automatically put 2 and 2 together. You can't put things together that are so far apart and just say, okay, well, but you were there and you're looking at this and just, as an impression, to me, I would say there had to be some the population of people that would have had to be there to do that, plus food supply. They have to, a whole number of things. What say you as far as, I mean, what were your impressions as far as who did that? I know it was them, but what did they? What were your impressions?
I don't think it was built by giants because the temples all had human-sized corridors.
Okay.
They had stairwells and doorways. They had some huge doorways, but then they had side corridors that just a regular human would fit through. Yeah, okay. Rory's showing that thing. That's the unfinished obelisk. That thing is freaking huge. Like, how the hell did they stand that up once they had it cut?
Well, they never did in that case.
Some people think that they waited for the Nile to flood and they floated it out.
But
you mean still, the other? How do they stand it up?
Don't you just start putting like logs underneath and start piling and piling and piling?
That thing is huge. It's huge.
So I had heard of the concept like of digging a hole underneath it and getting past that center of gravity, and then it would fall forward, but still getting it out of that hole.
When you see where these things are placed in the center of temples, they would have to fill the whole temple with sand.
Wow.
They have plenty of sand.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's a big difference filling with sand and emptying sand than moving a solid chunk of, granite. So maybe that.
But that unfinished obelisk was crazy. I was starting to get temple fatigue.
What do you mean?
They just kept showing us temple after temple after temple, and they all started looking the same. I mean, there's a couple cool ones.
That's an American thing to say. You're in an exotic, wonderful world.
But they all look the same. The temple of Hathor in Dendura is cool because it has like the supposed melted stairs where people that have never been to Egypt and looked at them say, oh, these stairs are melted from either like a solar flare or Hathor, H-A. Yeah.
So you never got a conversation
with they're like people think that these stairs are melted, but if you look at them, they're just eroded. If you get down, you can just see it's just wear and tear from the centuries.
Did you get any conversation in with Robert Schoch one-on-one?
Oh yeah. So it was really hard getting any time with them because there's 80 people on this tour and everyone's vying for his attention.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the stairs. So you'd see like some straight staircases and some spiral staircases. It was crazy. So a lot of people are like, oh, Robert, sit with us, blah blah blah. And I don't play that game. So one morning, him and his wife end up sitting next to me and Shannon, and we start talking about random stuff like genealogy. And once the genealogy conversation ends, I start asking him about other researchers, right? And it's funny, you would think that these independent researchers would all be on the same page and be friends.
Right?
Because they're like, Egyptologists are hiding the blah, blah, blah. We all got to be together. So I'm like, what do you think of Brian Forrester and his work with the elongated skulls? And he loses it. He's like, that guy's a fraud. He doesn't know shit. I'm like, what?
Found his trigger.
So I'm like, okay, back up. I'm like, what about Graham Hancock? That guy's a freaking fraud. Like, oh, God, really?
Sounds like the blacksmithing community.
Yeah, so he's like going off, and Shannon's giving me the evil eye. I'm like, dude, I mean, frick. So I look at him, and I'm like, just don't burst my bubble about Randall Carlson because I love him. And so, basically, Shannon's like, you're giving Robert Schoch a heart attack. You need to stop asking him questions.
Did he get that animated?
Yeah, dude, he was animated. He was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I did a book with him, and now he's name dropping me to try to use me to make himself more, so people will take him more serious and give him more credibility. I'm like, okay, sorry I asked. So we have to get up from breakfast because we have to meet in the lobby at whatever time to go on the next tour. And I couldn't resist taking one last shot. So I'm like, well, I'm really sorry breakfast is over because I was just about ready to ask you about Bigfoot. And Shannon like elbows me in the gut.
Did he crack up about that one?
No, he was a weird dude.
So he's a little bit of an odd guy.
Yeah, he's a bit of an odd duck.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So saw marks.
I saw saw marks. I saw some what looks like a circular saw blade curve on multiple stones on the Giza Plateau. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. I can't prove when the hell that was put there.
Oh, you're right about that.
What if Eloy decided on one Wednesday night, you know what? I'm going to get these tourists going. I'm going to go take my DeWalt saw up here and run a blade curve right through this granite block.
Well, let me ask you this. Granted that could have been done after, but the sheer fact of those things being so savagely huge and just what did they tell you anything? I mean, what the hell, dude? Did they tell you anything about, their ideas about what, how many people to build? I just
they did
give us some broth with our freaking noodle here soup.
Their narrative with it was that all these structures were built by someone before the Egyptians, so they called them the builders, and that the Egyptians inherited them and renovated them,
remodeled.
Right.
Ooh.
So they didn't call them. I mean, that's a common theory. People call them the Atlanteans.
Ooh.
But they did not call them the Atlanteans.
So you're saying that
they believed they were all used for healing, raising consciousness, generating power sympathetically with the earth, not necessarily wireless power like Tesla was trying to get to power tools and electrical grid, but more to be in sympathy with the resonance of the planet. Right. So they kept talking about energy and being connected.
Balanced.
And as one. And so I kept seeing these temples, right? I kept seeing all these blocks. And all these blocks had bow tie cuts, right? So you'd have two blocks next to each other, and they'd each have half of a bow tie, so that they could be interlocked. And I'm like, what's up with this? And like, oh yeah, we believe that those were cut so that molten metal was poured into them. I'm like, oh, so they used molten metal to hold these blocks together? Why would they have to use metal to hold blocks together that weigh multiple tons? They're not going to go anywhere. And if you do the running bond pattern over top of it, that's useless. Oh, it wasn't for structure. It was so the energy would flow as a continuous circuit through the block.
Oh, bitch, please.
Right.
That's my chisel.
So then I found examples where the bow ties ran into dead ends, and I'm like, how do you explain this? And they're like, oh, that was just a modern recreation when we rebuilt the temple.
Did they point you in the direction of any Egyptian weed when they were trying to play on this energy theory? Man, it's so like when the electricity comes through it, man. Get it? It's like for energy transfer.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically. And then I found a couple examples. I found a temple, and two of those bow ties still had wooden shards in them. So I was like, how do you explain this?
What's up, CSI in Egypt?
And they're like, oh, that was modern.
They're so full of poo-poo.
So 3D printed.
Well, so the bow tie is usually meant to, fasten two boards together. If it were wood and, whatever, it's to fasten two parts together. You're saying there's no need because they're so darn heavy. Why would you want to have to even tie them together? It's redundancy, right? You're saying.
So then I was looking for other blocks that maybe had the positive bow tie carved into it to see if maybe they were interlocking them like Legos. Mm-hmm. But I never found any.
But so from one block to the other, you had the negative of the
I think the block in bow tie is inferior. That would not be good for it'd crack easy.
I don't know, man. These are like limestone and granite blocks.
Oh, I know. I'm talking about big blocks. I'm just trying to. I just want to.
Huge.
So
then I kept finding evidence of all these door hinge pockets, and I'm like, where are all the doors? There were no doors. So I'm like, what were the doors made of? So the guide's like, well, we're not sure. They were possibly made of stone, but they might have been made of wood, or they might have been made of metal, or wood clad in metal. Like, well, if they were stone, wouldn't we still see some of them? And if they were wood, like, okay, would all the wood rot away, or would we still see some evidence of wood?
We would probably see some. Well, it depends, because it's so dry over there that you would think that it would, preserve.
Last. But
unless it floods the area, it'd have.
If they were solid metal or clad in metal, they were probably scavenged at some point. I mean, there was no door
for the metal.
I have hundreds of pictures of these random door hinge pockets.
Probably made
I was obsessed.
Metal from like a alien spaceship, man.
Oh yeah, probably liquid metal.
When you go into these places, when you went into these places, did you get the impression of human function? Like what the heck? I mean, other than that crazy story about alignment of energies and whatnot, which how can you? But did you get any sort of sense of what the people? I mean, let me just say this: with what you've said, it sounds like there were people that were super advanced that created this. They, for some reason, ended up not being there for whatever reason, and then all these Egyptians ended up running around with this thing, and I don't think they did anything with it personally.
Well, they carved the shit out of them. I think the temples were built plain Jane, and when the Egyptians inherited them, they graffitied the shit out of them with all their hieroglyphs.
Yeah, new paint, new shrubs.
Interesting. Well, can we step
because when you go into the pyramids, no hieroglyphs, no carvings.
Can we step back for half a second though? Those sort of figures and motifs of like the dog / human, all these things that you see on statues, and which are probably huge, yeah,
really huge.
So was that made by the builders, or was that made by the people that came after?
I asked that. They couldn't answer it. I was like, okay, you're telling me that this temple, Karnak Temple, was made by the builders? Yes. And the Egyptians inherited it? Yes. So some of these statues were here before the Egyptians inherited it? Probably. Okay, so did the builders dress like this? And the Egyptians showed up dressed like a guy that I see at Home Depot? And then they saw Karnak and they're like, holy crap, this place is awesome. We got to start dressing like these guys.
Yeah.
Like, how did it go down? And they couldn't answer it.
Yeah, because like all these, how many mummies of like pharaohs did you see, or do they show?
We saw mummies and fake mummies in the museum.
But pharaoh mummies.
The only pharaoh I know for sure that I saw was King Tut. But all those mummies were found in rock-cut tombs. They weren't found in the temples or the pyramids.
So basically, I'm sorry, Doc.
I wanted to ask a question. One thing that you think about Egypt, that entire situation now that you've gone there that you didn't think before. One thing that your mind has changed about, maybe, or were you pretty much right on it?
I was hoping that I was going to feel something.
Like, I'm hoping for that anywhere, anything you try. I'm just hoping to feel feelings. Like
I was hoping that I was going to go into the Great Pyramid and feel like this overpowering energy.
Welcome, Bales. You have arrived.
And I felt nothing.
That's because there was no metal bow ties, dude.
Maybe. But other people on the tour are like, dude, can you feel that?
They're full of crap.
Energy is overpowering. I'm like, dude, shut the frick up. I don't feel anything.
Closed off, Bell.
So what if Doc, Rory, and I, for some reason, had a trip out there and we explored the area? What would be, from your perspective, our impression? Like, what would be the biggest standout things in our, from what you've seen? What would be our big sort of like shockers? Or
probably how big everything is.
Really?
It is huge. When you're standing next to that pyramid and you're looking up, it's colossal. It's 481 feet is the Great Pyramid.
So compare it to some building or skyscraper or something.
Oh, our modern day skyscrapers are taller, but these things are huge. And Here's the other thing. Whenever I thought about a pyramid, right, I imagined every single block was the exact same size, like uniform, right? That's not the case. Like row 1 is a different thickness than row 2, then row 3, then row 4. And even blocks within, say, that row, you might have one solid block, but right next to it is 2 blocks that make up the same height. It's really strange. I was expecting it to all be uniform.
So it's very complicated the way they puzzle it together, and yet it looks aligned layer by layer.
Yes.
So it's really freaking weird.
Yes. And then when you're inside of it, dude, that was my favorite part, going inside of these structures. It was insane.
Did the pyramids inside seem to you to be a situation where was there function inside the I mean, did you not stop and think, what the heck did these people need this for? I mean, was there an explanation of utility?
They didn't really say. They think that they had different functions within an overall network of machines, but they never said what they thought they were.
Network of what? Machines?
Yeah, like, power generators or what have you.
They actually introduced the idea that there was generators?
Yeah.
Not generators, receivers. They're antennas.
Power to raise the consciousness of society.
Oh.
So was there any mention about the pyramids being covered with something?
The casing stones? Yeah.
Like they were black?
No, white.
White.
So Great Pyramid was supposedly fully covered in Tura limestone. The second and third pyramid were a mix of granite on the lower levels and limestone on the top levels. We saw the Abu Ruwash Jadefri pyramid. We actually went inside of that pit. That was crazy.
How so?
It's just a wide open pit that they let us walk down into, and it's demolished.
So what are these light bulbs I'm seeing in hieroglyphs?
Oh, the dendra light bulb. Supposedly that some people think that's evidence that the Egyptians invented electricity or discovered electricity, but others just think it's a creation story.
Ah.
All right. Well, how did they see inside these structures without
Dude, I don't know.
That's the one thing. You get into these places and everyone's got a flashlight. It's okay. How did the guy do that?
Yeah,
Do that, but he got a flashlight.
Any of the temples that were covered in soot was like more modern soot when people were just squatting in there and living.
Seriously, they didn't have torches.
No,
they had to have torches.
It would have sucked all the oxygen out and it would have covered all the walls in soot. When you deep inside these pyramids, no light. Deep inside the Serapeum, where those huge granite boxes are, insane. I actually crawled inside of one of those boxes.
Oh, you sicko.
Yeah, I was down inside of a box in the Serapeum.
Did you take off all your... Did you have the leather underneath and cradled in there?
Yeah, I was in every chamber of the Great Pyramid, all 3 chambers of the Red Pyramid, most of the chambers of the Khafre Pyramid.
Haven't they found another room in the Great Pyramid?
Not that they've released.
Ah.
Well, how about talking about release? Did you ever have to go to the bathroom while you were in mid-travel?
No. The heat sucked all the water out of you.
So you never were out and had to pee on the side of a...
I might have peed on the side of a temple on the Giza Plateau, but I don't want to confirm nor deny.
I bet you... Man, that's incredible. All right, so how about the Sphinx?
The Sphinx is in rough condition, man. That thing is rough, and it's been patched over several times.
The head is way smaller than the body.
Oh yeah, that's been recarved at least twice, I think.
So we don't know what it looked like originally.
Yeah, and those paws, those are all modern reconstructions.
It had no paws.
It might have had paws, but all that is modern brick.
Is there something? Is there like inside? Is there like a chamber?
There's definitely chambers inside because there's a grate on the back side, its ass, and
the exit.
Yeah, the poop chute, the sphincter, And I stuck my phone down in there and took video footage. And then one of the guards pulled the grate out and we took more video footage. So there was like a vertical shaft with a ladder and then a tunnel ran under it, like towards the front. There are definitely passages under there and inside.
But as far as who the builders were, no one knows.
Nope.
You would think whatever is inside the Sphinx is what must be important, because if not, why would they take so much time to recarve the head? And
well, supposedly the Hall of Records is under the left paw. But there's a wooden deck built over that area, so you know they've already tunneled into it. Oh, and that little thing behind the ear that people say is a door, it's not.
What is it?
It looks like it was an attachment point for a fake beard or something.
For Christmas.
Yeah, it doesn't go much further than that.
That's exactly where I was going.
Who were the people that blew up its nose? Was it the Napoleon?
People say that, but I heard that it was missing before Napoleon got there.
Because there's an actual sketch when Napoleon went there. I believe the case is that he had people and they sketched his, with his ego and stuff. And they sketched the whole journey. But whatever.
The thing about the missing nose is a lot of the temples you'll find hieroglyphs and the noses have been chopped off because they felt that if you defaced the image, you took away its power.
Who felt that?
The Egyptians.
Why would the Egyptians want that if that's their area?
Because if they're the new pharaoh, they want to take the power of the old pharaoh away. They just continuously rewrite history. It's crazy.
So they had the first version of Photoshop.
Yeah.
Manually.
They had two tools.
Yeah. Chisel and the mallet. And so they said that all these structures, the tools used, were made out of what material?
Copper.
I can't believe it.
That's the hole. That's one of the holes. The side holes. That guy's right next to it. That guy looks like Eloy. Well, that is not that might be the...
I was there, by the way. I didn't say anything, but Vigo and we hopped the flight prior to yours, and we were tracking you the whole way there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In fact, when you were swimming in the pool, I was on the other side taking a dump. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
You know that spider? You know that sea creature that you thought was floating in the pool, and you just took a big gulp?
That's gross.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Well, I am sorry. Am I sorry? Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
But you know what, Bales? Long and short of it is, you're safe. You're back here. You heard the story, folks. Okay, good night.
Man, what a trip, Bales.
Yeah, but I want to go back.
Right?
For what, Bales? What else do you need?
I didn't see enough pyramids, dude.
That was the first thing that Keanu wanted when he got out of the Matrix. Do you want to go back in? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Let it be, man.
I can't.
You want to go see more pyramids for what?
Dude, I didn't get to go in many of them. So that last day that Shannon and I went back up to the Giza Plateau,
yeah,
we were just randomly walking around. We kept seeing all these like tombs cut into the side walls, and a couple of them were missing doors. So I would just jump down in the hole and see what was in there. And then there was this tomb behind on the back side of the Great Pyramid, right? And there's this guard there. He's like, pass. I don't have a pass. It's like photo pass. I can't buy the photo pass. I can't just come in here and look around if I don't want to take photos. And he gives me like the sign of, he wants to be bribed. So I gave him 10 Egyptian pounds. And he looks at me, he's like, for both?
He said that?
Yeah. So I gave him another 10 pounds. So I gave him 20 Egyptian pounds, which is like $1.20 or something.
And he was happy.
And he's happy. So he's like, he didn't even say go ahead. He just like gives me the, displeased wave of go ahead.
Yeah. But inside he's probably like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I can eat. So we walk in and there's like this weird angular tub inset into the floor. And then we walk around a corner and we find some dead end passages. And then we're walking back out and I see this weird tunnel that like dives down into the floor. And I'm like, I'm going down there. And Shannon's like, no, we shouldn't do that. And I'm like, too late. I was already halfway down this thing, right? And she's like, what? Where are you going? It's like, just come on. And she wouldn't. And at the bottom of this passage was a cavern chiseled out in the bedrock with a huge box, which they call the sarcophagus. And there's no way this box got down there through the hole I crawled through. So it had to be carved out of the rock once it was in there. So they basically carved out the chamber and made this box out of the waste material. Thing was huge, dude. So I finally got her to come down, but
let's hold on there. But they use copper to do all this.
That's what the Egyptologists say.
It's gotta be bullshit, dude. Copper. I mean, it's too soft.
Yeah, take a copper pipe outside, put it against a rock, and hit it with a hammer and see what happens. It's gonna bend.
I mean, it just doesn't. So, and they don't acknowledge this issue, which is a freaking major issue.
No, the Egyptologists don't. No, they say it was copper. They're like, no, there were lines of 100 chisels, and they would use one copper chisel, and they'd take 3 whacks, and then they'd get their next one, and it was just a constant cycle of sharpening copper chisels.
No, man, no. That I mean, fine, it could be, but the manpower involved is so astronomical.
I'm telling you, dude, some of these low relief hieroglyphs look like the stone was soft and they just pressed a cookie cutter into it. That's how precise they look.
Could they have used molding? Like, could it have been...
Some people think it was geopolymer. Some people say there's stories out of South America that they had an organic compound that temporarily softened stone. If you look at the walls in Peru, those polygonal walls that just kind of perfectly nest together.
What does polygonal mean?
Multi sides, not perfect squares.
Okay.
I saw that same construction in the floors, like the base layers underneath the temples. I saw this same construction in multiple places of walls. And doesn't it look like they're just poured in place? Like who as a stonemason would take that much time?
That's ridiculous.
You would have to custom fit every single block.
Yeah. And they have a chamfer around them, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, let's even to add insult to injury, they said, you know what, this could use a nice little chamfer all around. I mean, that's insane, man.
But I have video footage of this tomb I'm talking about. I have video footage of going inside of the Red Pyramid, the Khafre Pyramid, the Great Pyramid, walking around the plateau. I just haven't had time to edit it.
Did you visit and I don't know that this is in Egypt, but maybe I'm wrong. Remember that temple that Indiana Jones and his old man in the 3rd installment?
Oh, yeah, that's Petra.
And that's not there.
Petra. No, that's isn't that India?
No, that's not India. That's got to be Middle East.
It's Petra.
Okay, now Bales, you take your pictures and the ones of you there, and now you come up with some bullshit theory and you write a book about it, and you
yeah.
pictures in the book just to make it look like you know what the hell you're talking about.
I should.
You can sell some stuff. Come up with this cockamamie theory, the Bales theory.
So I've already been. I was put in contact with a YouTube creator that does stuff along this line, and I've already given him some of my footage, and he's already used it in some of his videos.
Well, just number one, you should be doing your memoirs now because you should be doing like a whole series on it and your ideas. But that aside, Doc and Rory, what do you guys think? You know, I don't know what to think, but doesn't it seem unrealistic that these people from way back then, without any of the things that we, comfort things that we have, were able to create all this? I know it's what it is, but do you have any thoughts on that though? Because it's a bit jaw dropping.
Some things to me are too big to wrap your head around, and when it comes to that, we could sit here and ponder that forever without really knowing the truth. So I just kind of accept it and be like, wow, these are awesome.
And that's it. But you no ideas pop into your head? Like,
the idea I constantly have is like, I really hope that's what happened when you die. That like you get to like You get to know what happened. Like, sit down and watch the History Channel Heaven TV big screen and be like, and then this happened. Like, get the out. You gotta be kidding me. Dude, are you seeing this? I can totally not believe it was that the whole time. That's so stupid.
So you walk into like the perfect man cave and there's a big 40 of Heineken and a TV and a remote control. And it's like, sit, watch the history of life.
Yeah. Yep. Kennedy assassination. Like, you get to pick. You get to go through the menus. It's like you know, yeah, it's for your demographic. Like, yeah, guys your age, but white backward cap. Yeah, this is what you'll like. Here you go.
Here's a suggested video.
Just a video for you.
That was incredible. And I'm gonna guess that Rory, do you have any?
There's those Stones Bales was talking about,
dude.
Rory, are you?
Look at those things. They look like perfectly cut crown molding.
They do. That is crazy.
I can't believe you actually
4 feet tall.
Jesus,
5 feet tall.
And the thing with these, when you're inside of the pyramids, the corridors you have to squat to walk through, but then the chambers are massive.
Really?
They just open up. Once I get these videos edited, you're gonna be like, "What the frick?"
I can't wait.
So to answer Eloy's question, when I see this stuff, it is just a reminder about how much we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're constantly reinventing the wheel, and there's so much already around us that we can study and just learn from because we just don't know.
Yeah, I think about how full of shit we are just as a people. Like, oh, we know stuff. It's like we don't know anything.
We're the most advanced ever. No one is better than us. No one has ever been better than us. We're the best.
And really not giving credit to the civilizations that long ago about what they did accomplish. We almost take it for granted because it's always been there.
Yeah. I feel like almost for like 2 generations we didn't listen to our grandparents, and then we ended up where we are now. It's like, no, you're stupid. Your pyramid was stupid, and I'm tired of hearing about it. I don't care how hard you worked on it.
Your stupid temple all made of solid block. I just want to go to IKEA and get a bookshelf. God.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to sit today, man. So, anybody else do anything cool?